This is the same frame that was in that build video, the long one that I put on last night. It was my first ever quad. It's quite battered, there's a few bits knocked off it, but needs rebuilding. And it's leading into the wind. It's a bit windy today, as you can see by the trees. And I've just taken off, and I've got that switch set, so when the switch is up, it's in normal flying mode, and it's in a flying mode that's set super stable, so the computer's doing as much work as it can. There are other flying modes you can set up for acrobatic pilots, but you need to be much more natural flying skill. That can come later. For this particular machine, I've just set it up for basically being super stable, and the switch is there. Let's go forward. Actually, let's go over there. There we go, away we go. I've gone all the way over there, and I don't know if you can see it. And I put that switch in the middle. Look what happens. There it comes. It's doing that automatically now. It's doing that all by itself. That switch in the middle means come back and land where you took off. It's going to land itself soon. There it goes. And it's done that itself. It's landed itself. Hasn't disarmed, I notice. The motors are still running. Let's put that switch back up and go for another fly. Now, let's go back over there. Now, if I put that switch all the way down, look what happens. Switch is all the way down. It's literally just going to put itself on the ground. There we go. Woohoo! It literally, if that switch goes all the way down, it'll put itself on the ground pretty well exactly where it is. Switch back up, power on, back into the air, and we've got a pedestrian, so we need to be careful. That guy goes for a run every morning, but he changes his course, and he once ran right underneath one of my quads just as I hit the land button, and it just missed him. So you really have to be careful. The general public, they really don't give these things as much room as perhaps they should. But that's just flying itself now. I find it fascinating when they just sit in the same bit of the sky, and it's slowly descending because I got the stick down. Let's put it up again. Oh, it's still climbing now. Let's come back a bit. But yeah, I don't know what that was earlier where it bleeped and then landed. But it seems to be quite happy now. Maybe the bleeper wasn't the low battery, it might have been something else, maybe a GPS fail or something. And I know, there it is, rock steady. That's what I find most fascinating about these things, the way they just hold themselves in the sky like that. I think I think that's marvellous. It's got 3-bladed props on it. It's the first time I tried it with 3-bladed props. I think they They sound nice and nothing else. I don't know how efficient they are. I think they produce a bit more thrust for their size, but I don't know how much power what their power consumption's like. Bring it down. Let's go. I'm going away. Let's go away. Let's put that switch into the middle. Now that's interesting. Although I landed it where I was, you see it's gone back over here. So that switch returns it to where the motors were armed. And that's the arming point was there. Remember I had to unplug the battery and plug it back in again to rearm everything? That was that was that was that was obviously where it decided the landing point needed to be. There, it's going to land itself again. I've got the switch in the middle. There you go. Whoops. Drifted over towards me. Funny thing is, if I just turn the transmitter off, yep, it all stops. So I'm up in the sky, and I hit that switch there. I've now turned the transmitter off. Look what happens. There we go. There we go. It's going to land itself. Landing. There it goes. It lands itself, it even disarms. Now, one thing I've noticed is that it won't rearm itself on the transmitter. I can't rearm it. What I have to do is unplug the battery and plug it back in again. It's obviously gone into some sort of fail-safe mode, so it's not going to come back. Unplug the battery. Wait for that light to start flashing. That can take a few minutes to start flashing if it's forgotten where all the satellites are. Stick in. There, it's armed. A little bit of... Get all 4 motors spinning. That's a good pre-flight test. Take off. Wiggle the controls a bit. Make sure everything's alright. Now flying. Oh, it's windy again. I tend to fly above head height, so if somebody comes wandering past that I haven't seen, they don't walk into it, or I don't hit them. But again, you can hear it's slightly windy. One thing I have noticed, when I'm going really hard, sometimes it tends to turn a bit. Oh, it didn't do it that time. If it turns a bit, just turn it back again. Oh, that's the battery. has low battery warning. I noticed the machine actually landed itself when it happened. Now the battery warning is separate to the machine, but the machine I think has its own, must have detected something wrong. I don't know what, I don't have a battery low shutdown on it. It hasn't got the thing that tells it to land if the battery's going low, so I'm just relying on that little buzzer that goes on the side. It's simpler. But it actually landed itself as the buzzer went off. I don't know what went on there. It might have had a glitch or a bad connection. I'm not sure. This little gadget, plugged a balance lead into it, negative to that end pin. And that's telling you what the battery voltages are. And if it goes too low, it bleeps. This is very handy if you're using one of these batteries on an aeroplane that doesn't have a controller that cuts off when the battery voltage gets low, because if you run these things down too much, you ruin them. So having that little alarm there is very handy. What I'm also going to do is there's that kind of foamy stuff there. So I'm going to stick a bit on the underside of the drone maybe to hold it in place. Let's do that. Take this stuff, you peel the strip off the back, hook and loop tape. Because there's already some on the battery, it'll help stop it sliding around. Excuse me. This is the first drone I bought. Everything is on top like that. I don't like that, it's vulnerable. So when I build them, I build mine like this. Everything's in that box. It's safe, it's protected. The GPS and the compass didn't like being on top of the box. It picked up too much magnetic interference. So I put a smaller box on top just to hold the compass. There's nothing in that box. It's just a hold for the compass. And the receiver wires are here. They're the receiver wires. This one had it up here in a kind of letter V, one there and one there. And they kept getting hit by the propellers. So I just stuffed them down through there for now. This keeps everything strong and safe. This is quite a strong machine. Battery goes underneath. Oops. There's the hook and loop tape that helps stop the battery sliding out. These are just reusable tie wraps, and that's the one I actually built. But I had all the radio and everything all set up. I just put it in and then sorted out the motors. So as you say, you've got one here to use as a prototype, and to show you what's doing. I say the camera kept running out of memory and kept crashing. So I don't know what's on video and what's not. So I'm going to go outside and make some more videos. Obviously, when you're charging a battery with a LiPo battery, you plug the balance lead into the balance lead on the battery, and then you got the main connection to the battery proper, and you get the right setting on here, and butter. You want to use it in balance mode. You go balance mode, hang on. It goes LiPo charge. I don't like that because it doesn't balance them. You want to go, that's it, balance. Whoops. Oh, I'm getting lost now. Nickel metal hydride. I find this a funny charger to use, but if you work your way around it, you can kind of find out what's going on. And I'll show you when I've run the battery down. Back soon. Go. Plug the battery in that lead there. Very difficult doing this when you're holding a phone. Because all the electronics are exposed, everything has to be dry. As you say, I like to put all the electronics into a box. All the sticks need to be down, all the switches need to be up before you turn the transmitter on. It's complaining. Warning, place all the switches up and throttle down. When you do that, it powers up. Now that light's come on solid green. When that light starts flashing, that tells me it's found GPS. It started flashing now. That tells me it's ready. So that's now ready. Right, let's try and cut the grass. That switch needs to go down for takeoff, but I might change that. So push the thing into arm. There we go, make sure all the props are turning. Speed it up a little bit. Now, as you can see, it's windy. A lot of turbulence here. Double check nobody's about. Push the stick up and we're off. Pull the stick back to stop it climbing. Oh, what's happening? It's actually drifting away from me. So I'm having to fight it on the... I had to take control of it there. I'm not quite sure what's going on. I'll investigate. The GPS lock didn't happen. So it locked on the altitude, the up and down, but it started to blow away. So I had to take control of it on the other stick. And that's why I couldn't hold the camera. I've disarmed it now and I'll try and figure out what's going on. In fact, I tell you what I can do. I think I can put the phone in my pocket. There, I got the phone in my pocket. Let's see if it's going to cooperate. No, phone goes too far in my pocket. Got a problem with GPS lock. It holds in the sky up and down okay, but it wants to drive away. And when you buy propellers, they come with all these little black rings. Well, you need to find the one that's the right size for your motor shaft. You see there's one on there. That centers the propeller on the motor, so it gets it nice and right in the middle. That's what that is. It's a shim, a spacer. Well, it's getting dark, bit dark now, and the phone is not very good on the camera when it's dark. Well, I found the problem with the compass. A little plug had fallen out underneath there.